Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of Always Patriot, the John Jay Soccer Podcast. I am Brendan Horton, joined once again this week by Coach Robert Seipp, who is back from his tournament down in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and dropping his boys off at college. Coach, how are we?
I'm doing great, Coach. I was listening last week. Don't worry, I had a long drive from Hershey, Pennsylvania, down to Palm Beach, Florida. So I listened to the podcast twice. I loved it. I thought you did a great job solo. I told you, I know that you were a little nervous and a little anxious, but I told you it was going to be great. I personally just thought it was great, just sort of listening to you and listening to our program. I love the four kids that you highlighted. It was really cool. I really enjoyed listening to it. So thanks for covering for me from last week. I had a good trip, but you had a good podcast on your own. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. It was, like I said, very nerve-wracking. I never listened to it back to kind of see how it came out, but it was a matter of like, all right, we'll upload it and fingers crossed that this was okay.
It was great.
I'm glad.
I'm glad. Thank you. Great. Yeah.
So how did things go down in Hershey, first and foremost?
Yeah. So I was away. So the reason why I was away is I was coaching this girls under 12 East Fishkill Summer Soccer Academy team. East Fishkill started this new program where they're really trying to service the best players in the program. So I think our team was composed of 3 different East Fishkill travel teams. But it was great. And we had some younger players and some older players. Sometimes with girls, you got to play up a little bit. So I think, I could be wrong, but I think we only had one girl technically who was a U12 player. The rest of the girls were U11. Listen, it went great. I think I told you this summer, I really enjoyed. It's been 22 years, I think, since I coached a girls soccer team, right? Because in the spring of 2004 was my last time with the John Jay girls. And then in the fall of 2004, they switched over to the fall season. So it's been a long time since I've coached, a girls soccer team. And I forgot how much I enjoyed it. I forgot how enjoyable the girls are. It's just a different element, a different environment. Some things are really important, like the pregame cheer is really important and what you say. And then afterwards, I think you got to hit your thighs twice and then you got to clap once. And I love that stuff. I know when my kids were little, we used to take them to the Wiggles concerts and I used to dress up as a Wiggle and I used to, so I love kind of singing and dancing. And, when I was a kid, I was, taking tap dance lessons and stuff like that at Nancy's Dance Center. My dad quickly got me out of that and into sports, but I love all that stuff. And in terms of the soccer for this girls under 12 soccer team, it was fantastic. I mean, we won the tournament, or we won our division. There were three different divisions in the Hershey tournament for our age group, but the division or the grouping that we were in, we won it. I think it was composed of 6 different teams. So we played 2 games on Saturday and we tied 2-2. And we won, I can't remember what we won by Saturday. But so we finished, with 1 win and 1 tie going into Sunday, and then it was elimination. So then you cross over into the other bracket. So we were in 2 groups of 3. And, we actually won our group of 3 because the team that we tied, we beat them on goal differential because we beat the other team more than they beat the other team. So we went in there as the first seed and we played the second seed of the opposing bracket, beat them 9-0. So that's pretty big. And I'll tell you why it's pretty big, because it's 9:00 in the morning and, some youth teams or any teams, you wake up, you're groggy, not starting, but we right out of the gate, right off of the kickoff, took it right to the opposing team. And it was raining out too, so sometimes you think about girls and raining out, their hair is getting wet, and not these girls, they could care less. I mean, they were laser focused on, I'll tell you what they were laser focused on. If we made the finals, they knew that we were getting Hershey candy. So they're like, we want chocolate. We got to make the finals. Well, we made the finals. We blew out the second place team in the opposing division 9-0. And let me tell you something. The other team had a really good goalie, and I was walking back to my car with the opposing goalie and the dad of the opposing goalie. And I said to the goalkeeper, I said, listen, you played great. You are such a good goalkeeper. And the dad turned to me, kind of rolled his eyes. He's like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it could have been like 15, 16, nothing if she wasn't in the goal. And I felt horrible, because I had pulled our girls back at 6-0 and, put our weaker players up top and put our defenders up top. But these girls, they're just focused, man. They just sort of keep playing, which I like and I respect. And then we go into the finals, and in the finals we face the team that we tied the opposing the previous day 2-2, and we're down two of our best players, so we only had one sub. Two of our best players on Saturday had to leave Saturday night to go to a cruise, so Sunday we're down our two starters for sure, two of our better players as well, it didn't phase the girls. The girls didn't use it as a crutch or as an excuse, and they went out there and it was pouring. And so it was raining Saturday morning, but it was calming down, cats and dogs. It was raining, Sunday afternoon for a 1:00 final. But whatever, we warmed up, and we got out on the field. I put my starting lineup out in the field and the girls went out there and, we were standing waiting, and it is pouring, coach. Just imagine the scene. It is pouring out there. And these 11-year-old girls or 12-year-old girls are out in the field and they're on their toes. I mean, they are ready to go. And the referee hasn't shown up yet. And the referee is late to the field. You know how tournaments work. He was on another field. It wasn't like, he was sleeping in or anything like that. And the opposing team was on the sidelines under the tent and they were all huddled around the tent. And I thought for like 30 seconds, like, man, I'm such a bad coach. Like, I should get my girls off the field and on the tent. But the more I looked out there, they were just on their toes and ready to go. So I was like, nah. So I kicked the ball out to them. I'm like, ladies, move this ball around. And they were passing the ball around and same thing, the game started and I mean, we took it right to them. I think we won the game 4-1. Again, this is a team that we tied Saturday with two of our better players. And we're without them on Sunday. It's in the finals. It is pouring rain. And just what a pleasure to work with this group and what a pleasure to be back with the East Fishkill Soccer Club, a club that produced me, a club that produced you, a club that produces so many, if not, 95% of our players, at least they all start, or most of them start with the East Fishkill Soccer Club. So that was an awesome experience. Sorry I talked at length about that, but I think you could tell how much I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Can we have those girls come to one of our varsity tryouts and try and instill that mentality into some of our high school guys? That would be huge, man.
It's funny you say that because some of the parents afterwards, were thanking me and they were saying, hey, listen, do us a favor, get us your schedule. We want to come and watch your team play. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, maybe you give me your fall schedule. I'll bring my team to your, Saturday or Sunday club games. Cause, I want these guys to see this energy and this excitement and this enthusiasm and this, just intensity. I thought it was great. And then, so it's like 2:30, 3:00 in the afternoon, coach. And now I got this long drive down to Palm Beach, Florida to get my boys settled. So I drove like 12 hours, got to the hotel at like 3:30 in the morning, got a quick sleep. And then, continued on down to Palm Beach and all's well. The boys are set up. The boys are really excited. This all happened late. Austin was supposed to go to St. Bonaventure. Landon was thinking about maybe Seton Hall or Iona. He had some different, Division I offers to play baseball. But this Division II junior college opportunity, it's called Palm Beach State College, came about. New coach, needed some players, and he gave Landon and Austin a full tuition, books, everything. But at the Division II level, at least this is the case for baseball, at the Division II junior college level, the most you can give is tuition and books and, stuff like that. You can't give housing and you can't give, meals. And Palm Beach State College doesn't have housing and they don't have a meal program anyway. But there's no tuition, for our guys to pay. And it's like $11,000 out of state. So it was a pretty steep bill that we would have had to pay for both Landon and Austin. So $22,000, the Seips are saving, which is nice. So we had to get them in an off-campus housing. So they're all set. The apartment complex is beautiful. I was swimming in the pool. You know how I love swimming, Coach.
Yeah.
They got tennis courts. I mean, it's Florida. You know, it's just absolutely beautiful. So I'm excited for them. I'm pumped for them. And just again, you and I have been talking about it as we send our players off to different colleges. Junior college, man, it's the way to go. I mean, it's you know, the academics is reasonable. It's not like you're going to Harvard right out of the gate from high school. And we know how so many kids struggle from, I remember getting a 1.8 in my fall freshman year, you know, at Iona.
2.1 for me.
Yes,
2.1
and I'm not embarrassed. Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to say that because it's just eye-opening, and it's just not easy to make that transition from high school to college. You know, high school, you know, your mom is waking you up, you know, you
your
got to get to
teachers
school
are on you, and
yes.
In college, they're just not, right? Like,
so
do
true.
it, don't do it. They don't care. Like, you know, you're paying either way.
You know, tuition bills already paid.
I think junior college is such a great way to kind of dip your toes into the college landscape without a huge financial commitment. I think they have great athletics if you find a good program, right? Like, you know, it's a really
you can play
good
right
option.
away too.
Yeah,
you could play right away because you're not sitting behind a 22-year-old. You're sitting behind a 19-year-old. You know, if you're 18, so it's just 2 years. And a lot of Landon's friends last year, you know, went to these 4-year schools, and even guys that are on scholarship and they didn't play, but Landon went to Herkimer, played, you know, had a really good experience. So obviously no guarantees at this school. We'll see what happens, but really excited for Landon and Austin. And I plan on visiting often, Coach, making that flight from Westchester down to West Palm Beach. Their apartment isn't too far from the airport. We're not too far from Westchester.
You don't want to do the drive, Coach?
You know what? I don't think so. The drive down was really tough, and the drive back was really tough.
Okay.
It's not easy, but at any rate, we turn our attention to John Jay Soccer, right? And to tryouts that are starting on Monday and
tomorrow.
This is the worst, right? I mean, this is just the worst time of year for us because we've worked with all these kids, you know, from January through our winter program, and then June through our summer program, and now we have to say goodbye to a bunch of them, you know, maybe half of them, you know, yeah. How many guys do we have trying out for varsity? I know we don't know, but we've got
I mean, it's almost 90. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot of guys, and you know, it's really, really difficult. It's really taxing. I was on here, you know, last week saying that, you know, it's one of the big reasons I left head coaching when I was I was listening. Panis, right? Like it was, you know, it weighs on me. It's really draining. It's anxiety inducing. You know, before we came to record here, my wife was saying, you know, to me, like, what do you have to do today? And I'm like, well, we're going to record. I'm getting ready for tryouts tomorrow. And I think she could hear in my voice that it's just something that there's dread, you know, and you always do such a great job at keeping my perspective is like, if this is how you feel, imagine how these kids feel, right? Like, you know, so again, that is not lost on us at all, that it stinks, you know, it really, really stinks. And, you know, I wish there was more teams. I wish there was, you know, another opportunity. The good news is there's never been more opportunity to play soccer than there has been in the past. So even if you're not playing for John Jay in the fall, if you love playing, there's still other places you can play. I know that's not much of a consolation, but I mean, it is still, you know, playing soccer versus, you know, when I was playing, if you didn't play for a school team in the fall, like you just weren't playing soccer in the fall, you know, once you got to the high school level, I don't even think there was fall leagues, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It's not easy. So if you sort of do the numbers, you and I are math teachers, so we're number guys. You know, we had 40 some odd guys in our summer program. If there's 90 guys trying out for us, there's, let's just say 45 trying out for varsity again, just, you know, approximating things. You know, so probably going to have to cut that number in half, right? We usually take 22, you know, 23, sometimes even 20 guys. It all depends. And then from there, it's not over. So if people are wondering like, oh, it'll just be tough. Well, it's not over. If you get 22 guys, so you cut that, let's just say 44 guys down to 22 guys. So you're cutting half of the guys that you've worked with, you know, all off season long. And then on top of that, now you did 22 guys. Now you got to cut them in half, right? Because now you need a starting lineup, you know, and guys are really happy once they make the team, but then 3 or 4 days later, when they find out they're not starting, then they're unhappy. So you're basically taking that group of, 40, 44, 45 guys, and cutting it down, to 25% of those guys that you're putting on the field. And it's just really tough. It's really difficult. But it's what makes us so good. And it's what makes us, so competitive in such a really strong section every single year, because, like I was talking about with the East Fishkill girls under 12 team, I mean, the East Fishkill Soccer Club does such a good job of producing so many good young soccer players. And we have so many of them at John Jay, so to try to draw that line to figure out, who makes the team, who doesn't make the team. And then on top of that, who starts and who doesn't start. And then from those non-starters, who, might be able to come off the bench and help us out. It's not easy. We've talked about, and we'll talk to the guys, during the tryout process. And once they make the team, the lineup that we write out for the first starting game is usually not the same lineup, when we get to that section, sectional first match or the section finals or whatever, so there's definitely some wiggle room where, some guys who were starters sort of, slack off a little bit.
Venture to guess last year we used like 7 or 8 different starting lineups before we settled things down, right? Like, because I mean, we had Michael Versace starting out wide early in the year, and then as we got through, he wasn't starting at all, and by the end of the year, he was starting in the back, and that's just one player, right? Like tweaking around. So we also had, other changes as well. And where guys were and what they were doing. And yeah, I mean, we're certainly not married to any decision, but we also don't make them willy-nilly either, right? Like we make them with conviction. And the reality is, right, like you said, 11 of those guys are going to start. And I mean, maybe early in the year when it's hot, we'll sub some more guys. And it's a real shock for a lot of guys because like at the JV level, it's pretty rare to not play in a game at all. And I mean, we'll have on our team 7 or 8 guys who go several games in a row without playing potentially. Like that is a very common thing, and that's a reality. And like you said, when the list of the players who made the team comes out, everyone's very excited. But when it's the 3rd game of the season and you haven't seen the field yet, suddenly that can change for a lot of guys. And that's, I mean, it's an unfortunate reality that, we are trying to put the best players on the field to help us win the game, right? And what we feel will help us win the game and do the things that we value and emphasize and prioritize and do those things. So yeah, it is challenging and it's tough. Like you said, we're never stuck in decisions, right? Like in terms of team selection too, right? Like we had guys last year, several guys who made their very first team for John Jay. They had been cut from JV multiple times. They had been cut from varsity. And then as a senior, they were on the team. Right. Yeah. And then some of them ended up playing and even starting, Chris Mollicone won our James Caswell Memorial Scholarship Award at the end of the season. Right. Like, so again, just because we have one thought on August 26th does not mean that's the thought on October, 15th when the sectional tournament's rolling around.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to us, right? We're flexible. We're able to, evaluate things on a daily basis and things change, So, sometimes I think, man, do we not know what we're doing early on? But I think that's not the case. I think things just change. Guys work harder. Guys slack off a little bit. Guys become selfish as that season drags on. I mean, it's tough because you and I are barking at them now 6 days a week. It's not the summer program anymore where, once or twice a week, guys are coming for a practice or for a summer league game. We're really barking 6 days a week at them and pushing them and running them, and it's not easy to play for us, unfortunately, as that season goes along, some things change. And I think we just do a pretty good job of recognizing that and adapting to what's taking place in practices and what's taking place during the games and adjusting accordingly. And just always trying to put, the best 11 guys out there that give John Jay High School an opportunity to win and to be successful. And it's definitely not easy, and that weeding out process begins on Monday with tryouts and physicals is the first thing, everybody's got to be cleared through the health office, right? And then academic eligibility. I don't think we've got a single guy that's in academic trouble this year, which is awesome. We preach to these guys. It's called a school soccer game. School is first, you got to do well, academically. You got to do what you're supposed to in the classroom first. And, just going back to Landon and Austin and like a baseball scholarship that they're on, academic money, is so critical critically important. I mean, when Austin was going to St. Bonaventure, when he had committed to St. Bonaventure, it's about a $60,000 school. Just to give people an idea of this, Austin got a $20,000 scholarship for baseball. Yay, right? So he's paying now $40,000 to go to St. Bonaventure, where Landon, who's going to a junior college at Herkimer, no scholarship whatsoever, is paying $20,000. So just half of that. But then, oh, by the way, at St. Bonaventure, in addition to the $20,000 that they gave Austin for playing baseball, they also gave him $20,000 for academic, so now Austin, instead of paying 60, is paying 20. So again, we always say school's more important than soccer, but in Austin's case, it was equally as important, right? I mean, he got 20,000 because he's a good baseball player, and he also got 20,000 because he's a good student. So that's what we pride ourselves on, right? With John Jay Soccer, we've been preaching it forever. Do well on the soccer field, but also do well in classroom. And oh, by the way, be a really good person. We've got a lot of our guys who do a lot of community service work, guys that are in the National Honor Society. So all that stuff is really important. And for us to look at our tryout list of about 90 guys, and to look at the academic ineligibility list and to not see a single guy trying out for us that's on that academic ineligibility list is awesome. It just really, really warms my heart.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. It's a rarity too, right?
Yeah,
There's, usually one or two, but when we got that list sent out by, our athletic administrator and went through it and was like, man, cross-referenced it with the Arbiter Sports List. I was like, none. That is
we don't
awesome.
think so anyway. It's a lot of guys to go through, so you never really know if we're missing somebody, but
Yeah, but I didn't see anyone, which was, just awesome. Starting things off on the right foot for sure.
Yeah. And then once you get on that field, because you're, cleared by the health office and you're cleared academically, shin guards, talk to me about shin guards. Always a big issue, shin guards with the referees and section
cannot have the little baby shin guards that you wear for club soccer, right? Like, you can't have shin guards that fit in your wallet. And again, it was the same last year. Guys need to understand that, right? I don't want to hear anyone, we've made you more than well aware of what the expectation is for, the officials at the high school level for shin guards. So you have to have them every day at practice. You have to have them at tryouts. You have to, be properly equipped to play, at all times. So bring, the proper socks and appropriate size and age appropriate, I believe is the terminology that are, approved by whatever the organization is that approves the, the ones that have the stamp on them for high school, and make sure that you have those, because you just can't play without them, right?
And then, once you make the team and once you get on the team, we talk about, yellow cards and red cards and fouling. I mean, we went through a point in our history. You were with me, right? We're like at least 3, if not 4 years.
3 years in a row, I think it was.
Okay. We ended the season with 10 players on the field, right? Because guys were getting red carded in sectional matches. I'm not even talking about regular season matches, so that has really become a focus for us, and we talked to the boys at length. Your brother, his senior year, I didn't know this, that your brother was on this team, but, in the state finals, John, I wasn't a part of it. You weren't a part of it, but, we were certainly fans, and we were certainly, following the team and the program. And, was that 1996? 1996, November of 96, John Jay Soccer ended a state final game playing with 10 players because guys are red carded. So we have no tolerance for that. You and I, guys have got to play the game. They got to play hard. I mean, they got to play fast. They've got to be tough, but they can't be dirty, and they can't be chippy, and they can't act in an unsportsmanlike manner. And, any of these intentional fouls or, guys going in with cleats up or the language and the words, situation last year, right? In one of our sectional games where one of our guys got a yellow card because of arguing with the referee, so stuff like that, we just simply, and we didn't put that player back in, by the way. So if you're wondering like, oh, yellow card, what's the big deal? That's the seriousness that we take it. Like, you're on a yellow card, sit down. We got somebody else that's going to go in there and play just as well and not get a card.
It was in our opening match of the sectional tournament. He came out and didn't play the rest of the sectional tournament. All right. That's how serious we are. All right. He did not play again.
Yeah.
All right. Because we're just not willing to lose that way. Right.
Yep,
Like, I mean,
correct.
if we're going
willing
to lose,
yes,
we're going to lose not like that.
Yeah,
right.
correct.
We're not going to lose because of, someone's mouth. We're going to lose because we're outplayed or we make a mistake or the other team's better. Not going to lose that way.
Correct.
Refuse.
We're going to put 11 guys out in the field that are going to give it everything they've got, that are going to be team oriented, that are going to do what we're asking, that are going to be, like you were saying last week, rowing in the same direction, as everybody else, and giving us the best opportunity to win. And you and I say it to our guys all the time: we are fine if we lose. We are absolutely. It's a part of life. It's a part of the game of soccer. You cannot win every single game every time you step on the field, but there's certain ways when you lose. And again, 3 years in a row, like you said. This is going back maybe 6-7 years ago, ended the season with yellow cards, and you and I were devastated. I mean, you're devastated whenever you lose in sectionals, but I mean, to lose that way and to go out that way, it just really puts a sour taste in your mouth, because, what are we doing as coaches all year long? Are we teaching these guys the right way to play soccer? Are we teaching these guys to do well in the classroom? Are we teaching these guys to be good human beings and to deal with adversity well? And yeah, sometimes the calls don't go your way. Sometimes the ref miss calls, and we say it all the time. You guys make bad passes as well. You guys have bad touches. Yeah, sometimes the referees, don't see things, the way that they should see them. Or sometimes it's just an opinion thing. Like, was that pushing? Was that not pushing? I mean, guys are competing for the ball. So sometimes there is a thin line. You can't turn around. You can't complain. You just got to compete. You got to fight, and if the whistle blows, quickly figure out, is it for us? Let's get the ball down and let's see if we can attack. Or is it against us? Let's get our tails back and let's make sure that we defend, so that we don't make a bad situation worse. So that's the story for tryouts. Looking forward to it, but not looking forward to it, Coach. Yeah. It's tough. It's not easy.
Speaking of our tryouts, right? Varsity tryouts, right? I know I've said it on here. I've sent a bunch of emails, right? So if you were trying out for the junior varsity team, those tryouts are at the East Fishkill Soccer Complex on Route 52 down the road from John Jay. But if you are trying out for the varsity team, right? We've talked about it all summer here. There's construction going on at John Jay, right? They're digging trenches for electric, for lights, and turf is going on the soccer field and the softball field. So because of that, right, we've been given directive. I have an email going out later today that will explain to everyone, right? You are to be dropped off at the main entrance of John Jay, right? So the middle center entrance, all right? You're heading in that way, going past the welcoming desk, going straight, following the signs, going out door 17, and then walking across the grass out to the turf. And when you leave, it'll be just in reverse, coming back in door 17 and going out the main entrance. So if you park out by the main entrance, so I guess that's the teacher lot there, right? Coach,
yep.
I think,
yep.
right? In the teacher lot.
Yep.
And if
by
you're getting dropped, right by the flag. And if you're getting dropped off, get dropped off right there, okay? I mean, you'll see mine and Coach's car there too, because that's how we're getting in and out. That's how us and football and field hockey and whoever else is using the turf is using it for at least early this week, right?
Yeah, girls soccer, volleyball, cross country, everybody.
Right? Like everyone who needs to get out to the turf or the track, that's how they're doing it. So please make sure that is the case. All right. Again, I have an email coming out. By the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be in your inbox already. But, it's the quickest, easiest way that we've been directed by athletic administration to access everything, through the building when it's open.
No cleats in the building, right?
Yeah,
so bring flip-flops, bring, sneakers, running sneakers, something like that, so that, you can carry your cleats, to the turf field, put your cleats on. And then when we're done, take your cleats off, and then, put on your flip-flops or slides or running shoes or whatever, and then walk back, through the building. So yeah, it's an awesome time at John Jay because of all the construction, but I really feel bad for our senior class, right? I think this was the same thing in 2017 when that football field, was being turfed. It sort of stinks for the seniors, but it's awesome if you're a junior, sophomore, or freshman.
Anything younger,
lucky you, lucky you that you're getting this opportunity. it's tough with all the construction. It really is. But yeah, you got to make sure that you follow the signs, because then we get in trouble. This is what we talk about with the guys too. Like once you make the team, I mean, you're now representing us, so you go out and you act like an idiot, in the hallways of John Jay, and you got an English teacher or, a science teacher, yelling at us because, Johnny isn't behaving himself in the hallways or in classrooms. It makes us look bad, and we don't want to look bad. We want to look like, really good human beings. And,
right. When you're parading around acting like an idiot at a football game in your John Jay soccer sweatshirt, like that's a reflection on us. And like, you know what I mean? Like that is not the message we're sending, like we are constantly every Friday, right? We will tell the guys after a game, after practice, like, do not embarrass yourselves or your school or your family or us, the program, the team, at this game, right? It's such an easy ask, but sometimes guys have such a tough time with it, right? And thankfully not of late, but again, we over the years, man, there's been, we don't say those things for no reason, right? We say those things because we've had to deal with a laundry list of things, Now it's more social media oriented, right? We'll talk to the kids about that, right? Like, do not embarrass yourself, our school, our athletic department, our team, our program, our community, right? Like, do not do something like that, And again, how hard is it not to do that? Right?
And yes. And we are sort of harping on the negative. We get many more positives than negatives, so there are many stories that I could tell you about, people. I remember a story. Rudy Shipp was one of my youth coaches, and he had, I think it called me, or was it an email? I think maybe a call. This is going back years ago. And he said, "Hey, Rob, Rudy Shipp here. How you doing?" He said, "Listen, I just want to let you know, my wife and I were at, I think they were at the Olive Garden, and he said, we're at the Olive Garden, and we look, and we're sitting next to, this group of, guys in John Jay, get John Jay soccer shirts. And he said, I walked over to the table and I said, 'Hey, you guys John Jay soccer players, and they said, yeah. And I was cringing. I was like, oh God, what is he going to say? Like, were they throwing meatballs around? And, but quite the opposite. He said, I just have to tell you what kind gentlemen they were. They behaved themselves before I went over. They were behaving themselves after. They were so pleasant and polite to me. So we do get a lot of stories of, again, we've got guys in the National Honor Society at John Jay, guys doing a lot of volunteer work, in the community. So we really have some really, really great kids. But all it takes is one, right? To get that red card, or all it takes is one, to curse when you're at the complex, when, an under 5 team is practicing, next to you, to get that, nasty email and say, oh, John Jay Soccer, you guys, are a bunch of, idiots, makes us all look bad. And like I just said, 99% of us, are really good guys and really good people and work hard and, just want to be known, for doing the very best that we can. Very thankful. And we talked about it at length. The kids that we currently have are just awesome. They are very good kids. They are very, very coachable. But still, we just feel the need to make sure that we emphasize that we appreciate that, and that's what we want, and that's what we want to continue for sure. So that's the story, Coach. So yeah, tryouts, always a difficult time for everybody. Like you say, it's not just for us. It's not just for the kids. It's for their parents. It's for their grandparents, cause they're going to want to know, if Johnny, made the team or not. It's just a tough time, but, we always say to the kids, and we'll say it again, before that first tryout, do the best you can. Just give it everything you got and let the chips fall where they fall, and I tell a story of me being at Marist, and I can't remember if I was cut or if the coach was like, don't bother coming back, but the message was pretty much set, you're out, Seipp. And I was devastated. I was crushed, but it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I fell backwards into coaching. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I came home, I was just devastated. I basically kicked out of preseason, and I remember sitting, in our pool area and just devastated. And my dad's like, what's the matter with you? And I'm like, I can't believe it, but like, I think my soccer career is over, and he was telling me, he says, listen, a kid that played for his club team, his sister was on the tennis team at Lord's. And he said, the Joyces called me up. They said they need a tennis coach, and they know that you'd coach tennis. You want to coach tennis? I was like, what do you mean coach tennis? Coach girls tennis at Lord's? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, what are you going to do for a job? What are you going to do? And back then it paid $1,000. Now I know that's not a lot of money, but it was a lot of money back then, and it's probably still a lot of money for a college kid today, right? And my dad was like, hey, it's $1,000. They need a coach. What else the hell are you doing? It's right near Marist. Lord's is up in Poughkeepsie and Marist is up in Poughkeepsie. I just, begrudgingly went and didn't really want to do it. Fell in love with, coaching, fell in love with high school athlete. And long story short, changed my major from business to education. And here I am today. If I didn't get cut from that Marist soccer team, I don't think that would have happened. I really don't, because I never thought about coaching. I never thought about teaching. But that, difficult moment in my life, Haken DeVries, I remember, I don't know if that's but he was a soccer player too. And I believe he may have tried out as a freshman and got cut and became a New York State cross-country champion. So, I mean, he was a soccer player, and didn't play soccer at John Jay. And as a result, he was the best cross-country kid, in New York State his senior year, So, I mean, there are good stories for when you don't make it, and it's not the end. And like you say, there are so many other opportunities. And I referee in these men's leagues, under over 40 leagues, over 50 leagues, So there's all these adult leagues that you can continue to play in. We've got a lot of our guys. We saw Grant Bryant and Jordan Dixon the other day, and they're playing club soccer at their schools. And Joey Moore is playing, over at Scranton. We saw the three of them, and we have had players that have not made our team at John Jay and have gone on to play at the college level. So, and again, we are not afraid to say that. There's reasons why we didn't take those players. And I think we firmly believe that us, as a result of not taking them, was a part of their education process. It's, hey, listen, you got to take a look in the mirror at what you're doing soccer-wise, and how you're acting, with your teammates, and how you're acting towards coaching, and whether or not you're willing to take coaching. And sometimes players mature, and they go to the next level and they continue to play. So it's definitely not the end of the line if you don't make it with us. But still, it is heartbreaking for us. We recognize it's heartbreaking for the players and their extended families. It's because everybody wants to be a part of it, and we know how tough it is. And then once you're part of it, everybody wants to be playing, I think, was it last year? I think it was last year that a mom got me in the parking lot and was just, how come my son isn't playing? How come my son isn't playing? And we were like, I was like, because you weren't there. I said, we told you that during tryouts, right? After, just so everybody knows, if you try out for our team, you get a written, detailed evaluation of what we thought you did well, what we thought you didn't do well, why we made the decision we made, whether we took you or whether we didn't take you, and then what we envision in terms of playing time going forward. And again, that can change, but I mean, it's a snapshot in time of what we think and what we're evaluating. And we didn't do that. I think we when I first started coaching and I was coaching you, we didn't do that. We just read off the list, and that was it.
Not even read off. It was a list taped to the locker, right? Like that. Times have changed, man.
Yeah. Well, I do remember being at the complex. Sean Kelly, I don't know why this sticks in my mind, but he was a sophomore, I believe, and I do remember cutting him and his dad grabbing me in the parking lot and being like, well, you must have made a mistake. Sean's not on that list. And I think I was new I was a new coach. I didn't know who Sean Kelly was. Long story short,
he's the same age as me, so it's had to be your second year.
So long story short, he played at Marist, Siena. Where did he end up going?
Siena.
So this is a division. So this is just a great example. This is a future Division I college soccer player. Yeah. And as a sophomore, I cut him on first cuts from varsity. So he's a sophomore. He's going to go down. He's going to play JV. It's not the end of the world. But it was first cuts, and I remember reading off a list and walking to the parking lot and, being mauled by, a bunch of people. But I distinctly remember Sean Kelly's dad saying, you must have made a mistake here. And I was like, no mistake. Sean's not on the list. And he was just I think he was respectful. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just but he's good. My son's good.
Right. And he was good.
Well, yeah, again, yes. No,
but we were really good.
Not good enough.
We were really good.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, it's tough. But back then it was just like, hey, you're on the team or you're not on the team. And then it evolved to, you know what, we're going to give written evaluation to everybody that we don't take. And then we were sort of banging our head against the wall and we're like, why are we doing it for the kids that we don't take? And then we get these kids and they don't know what we want. They've got weaknesses that aren't really addressed. So now that's our policy, right? If you come and try out for us, we will give you a detailed evaluation of your playing ability. And of course you may not agree with it. And again, it's a snapshot in time. I mean, your club coach may have a different view or, you may be playing different positions or under a different style. Again, just going back to me and Marist, I mean, I went to Iona as a freshman and started and played on the field. And then I transferred to Marist as a sophomore and got cut. I mean, what's the difference between Iona and Marist? It's not a big difference at all. But the Iona coach just valued stuff that I was good at. He valued skill. He valued intelligent soccer. And you may say, oh, Seipp, you think you're also... I was a wimp. I was not tough. I was not a physical player. I was not a physical specimen. I know that's hard to believe after coaching Landon and Austin, who are two big, strong guys, but that was not me. It just was not me. I was just, a technique guy, and I was very good on the ball, and the Iona coach valued that. And then, I transferred to Marist, and the Marist coach did not value that at all. He wanted, in my opinion, football players who could kick a soccer ball. And that wasn't me, right? I mean, that just was not me as a player. So sometimes it's just a style. And I think that's a great example for everybody to understand that sometimes it's not necessarily you. It's just the coaches and what the coaches value and what we value at the high school level, where we go to these club soccer games, it's different, when you're playing club soccer versus high school. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. It is just different. And again, I'm not saying that Iona was better than Marist or Marist was better than Iona. They're two, low-level Division I programs still to this day. They are two low-level Division I programs. They play each other. Sometimes Iona wins, sometimes Marist wins still to this day. But I started on one and I got cut from the other, so it's just, sometimes it's just, what the coaches are looking for and just a style of play. And that's why you and I do this podcast. And that's why you and I have these summer programs and winter programs so that we could show the players exactly what we're looking for. And listen, I knew what the Marist coach was looking for. I'm going to be honest with you. I just couldn't do it. I mean, it just wasn't me. It wasn't in my gut and my heart and my personality, to just run through guys and just level guys and just, flatten guys. And, that's what he was looking for sure.
Yeah.
But we're not looking for that. But we are looking for guys that are tough. We are looking for guys that defend hard. We are looking for guys that are good in the air. We're looking for guys that can throw the ball in, right? Can throw the ball in, coach. And I guarantee you, we will work on that the first day of tryouts, right? I think we will definitely get guys into a couple of groups or a couple of lines and have them start, throwing the soccer ball in, because that stuff is just really, really valuable. As crazy as that sounds, but we've got guys that really can't throw the ball in.
It is crazy.
You gotta be able to do it.
It's crazy. These are the things you wonder what you're going to worry about. And no, it's your 17-year-old starting player who's been playing soccer for 12 years who can't throw the ball in. But hey, listen, it's the beauty of working with teenagers, I guess, right? Part of the deal. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, we say sometimes, like, we'll play against a team and we'll say, you know what, this player on our team who maybe doesn't play much, this coach would love that guy,
right.
Because this is what he wants,
right?
It's not what we want. So again, it's just it's a mix, right? But at the end of the day, listen, we are the coaches, right? So it's kind of up to, I mean, we do obviously tailor things to the players that we have, right? We're not a club team. We can't just go get someone, from somewhere else to fill a role that we have. So we do, adapt, but like we do also have kind of non-negotiables that we value and prioritize and emphasize, and are looking for guys who can kind of get on the same page with that, right? So, it's kind of on you as a player to give your coach, whoever it is, whether it's us here, whether it's your club coach, whether it's your college coach, what they want, right? And people go, well, they have favorites. Well, yeah, like my favorite guy does all the stuff I like, right? Like
right.
That's what makes him my favorite, right? Like, yeah, he defends really well. He runs really hard. He's very fit. He plays right to feet, right? Like, yeah, it's my favorite guy. Like, how could it not be? He does everything I like, right? Like, so, it's not because, any other, reason other than that, right? Like, yeah, I got favorite guys. They just do the stuff that I think is the best and most valuable thing on the field. Those are my favorite guys.
Very true. Very true. All right. Well,
we'll get after it tomorrow morning. We got JV kicking off at 8 a.m. and we will get together at 10 a.m.
At the complex.
JV at the complex at 8 o'clock till 10:30, I think. And we'll start at 10 o'clock. We'll have a little talk, or more than a little talk, probably. We'll go over a lot of the things we talked about here, make sure guys are approved, all that good stuff. And then we will get out on the turf for 2 hours? Till 12:30?
Yeah.
I think.
Let's talk about that approval process as well, because, guys that are clear. So we talk about academically, we don't have any academic issues, but we do have some guys still on that list that are not cleared by the health office, right? So that's, our hands are tied, just so people know, if you're not cleared by the health office, there's really nothing that we can do, so you got to go through the health office, and sometimes it's a doctor's note, sometimes it's an updated physical, but that stuff, hopefully should have been sorted out prior to. You are so good at emailing people and saying, hey, listen, you're not cleared right now. You got to log into your account and you got to figure out, what's going on and rectify the situation, or else we can't let you try out. And that situation needs to be rectified by Tuesday, right? By Tuesday night, because Tuesday night's our last tryout.
Yeah, that's it.
We go Monday morning, Monday night, and then Tuesday morning and Tuesday night. And then after those 4 sessions, we select the team. So yeah, it's never easy. It's always stressful, but
yeah.
That's why they pay us, right? We do the summer, the winter for free, but we get paid, in my mind anyway, to deal with this stress and to make these really difficult decisions,
Yeah, absolutely. And I made an announcement about that approval process at our practice on Tuesday, right? I said there's guys here right now who are not approved, right? And if you're not approved Monday morning, there's nothing I can do, right? Like your mom will come up to me or you at the tryout and go like, why won't you let them play? I said, because I'm legally not allowed to, right? Like, this has nothing to do with me, right? I want him to come try out.
Right.
I'm not allowed to until he's approved for whatever reason, right? It's usually a physical or a page of a physical or some vaccination. There's something, right? There's some reason they're not getting approved. And that ends up being between you and the athletic administration and the district nurse or the district physician or whomever. But like, we are not a part of that process at all, right? Like they don't, I'd let everyone, right? Like, but that's why they don't let us make those decisions, right? So it ends up being a headache. And that's what I said to the guys. I said, like, it just adds more stress to you, right? Like, now you're going home, you're having an argument with your parents, you're, well, if I get cut now, is it because I didn't, I wasn't approved? Like, no, we're not, we don't hold that against anyone, but like, you do lose potential time to come and show what you can do. Yeah. But like, we're not holding it against you, but you're losing, you have basically 8 hours of tryout to show us what you're capable of doing. And if you lose some of that, there's no making it up, unfortunately. We need to get our team selected and get going, because as I talked about last week, we got some tough games coming up pretty early, right? Some tough road games. So we've got to kind of get down to business and get things together.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll do our best this week. I'm sure the players will do their best this week, and we'll be back next week giving you the results, right? And talking about
the team
guys
who
selected,
made it. What we anticipate from guys, different spots, roles, things like that. It'll be the first time we've really kind of hammered out a roster for this group, and I'm excited, right? You have all these kind of anxious feelings, but it's exciting, right? It's a really exciting time of year because possibilities are endless, right? Like, and especially this year, we're the defending section champions, right? Like, we've got a target on us. We feel like we've got talented guys. I'm excited to get to work and see what they can do and get to work with them every day, right? We've been complaining we haven't had enough training sessions. We're about to have a bunch,
Yeah,
and to see what we can do,
That's
see what we
true.
can teach them, and what we can, who can make progress, and who can learn what we want, and who can adapt, and things like that. So it'll be really good. So good luck to everyone who's trying out. We wish you the best, and hopefully things break your way. And if not, like Coach said earlier, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the road for you potentially. We have guys who get cut who go on to play college soccer. So, keep your head up and just continue working hard and playing and things like that. And good things will come your way. All right. So thank you for everyone tuning in. All right. That is a wrap for episode 9. We will see you next week with results for our JV and varsity team and what we're thinking and things like that. And we will see you next week. All right.
Good luck, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Good luck. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.